Resting in a small crypt in the cemetery of the Dormition of the Mother of God in the Giulești neighborhood, Bucharest, is the whole and uncorrupted body of Father Ilie Lacatusu, one of the martyrs of the communist prisons. Since September 29, 1998, when his body was discovered, countless faithful people have been visiting his tomb, pouring out their sorrows and troubles. Weighing about 7 kilograms, the body displays all the traits of holy relics. It remains uncorrupted, emits a pleasant fragrance, is dry with a skin color reminiscent of hazelnuts. It retains its original size and appearance without instilling fear in those who witness it, but spiritual joy, giving the impression of a person who is sleeping peacefully. Father Ilie Lacatusu is a priest who dedicated himself not in solitude, but in the communist persecution, enduring the humiliation of life as a prisoner with a humble heart and without compromising his beliefs. He was arrested several times and experienced the cruel regime at the canal, where he was part of a group of priests targeted for extermination. Following his time in the labor camps of Galeș and Peninsula, where he fell seriously ill, he was sent to Târgu Ocna, where he found an environment of prayer and brotherly love. After a brief period of freedom, he was once again arrested and sent to the Delta, to Periprava, where he discreetly revealed his spiritual strength. Father Justin Pârvu, who was also there, shared incredible stories reminiscent of the lives of saints, recounting the great miracles that God worked among those who confessed him in the labor camp. Father Ilie Lacatusu left a lasting impression on those who knew him, being remembered as a man of prayer. Those who had eyes to see observed that no matter the circumstances, he remained constantly connected to God, whose name he called upon at all times. He didn't speak much, but his words held great power, bestowing grace upon those who listened. Through his prayers, words, gentle demeanor, and kindness, he provided support to many souls weakened on their journey through the trials of life, bringing them towards a closer relationship with God. After his release, he worked as a bricklayer in Bolintin, near Bucharest. The Lord wanted to purify and refine his servant in the furnace of trials, and like another Job, took away his children one by one, leaving one daughter alive out of the 5. Father Ilie accepted this trial with unwavering faith, fully surrendering himself to God's will. A few years later, with humility, he resumed his calling as a priest, ministering in the villages of Gărdești in Teleorman County and Cucuruz in Giurgiu County, serving as an example of prayer and good deeds for the faithful. I spent 4 years with Father Ilie Lacatusu in Periprava in the Delta. He distinguished himself primarily through his deep introspection and silence. It was rare to hear him speak, but when he did, his words held great significance. Most of the time, he encouraged us to pray when we were in danger. I can say that this man genuinely possessed the gift of humility. He always strived not to draw attention to himself, behaving with utmost modesty as the most unassuming person. I would like to share what happened on January 30th, 1962, the day of the Holy Three Hierarchs, Basil, Gregory and John. It was a foggy and cold morning, with the mist and dampness penetrating our bodies. We were dressed in the recognizable stripped uniforms worn by prisoners, consisting of just one coat and a torn shirt, whether it was scorching hot at 40 degrees Celsius or freezing cold at minus 30 degrees Celsius. It was the middle of the winter with a severe cold spell. The guards were very threatening that morning as we made our way towards our workplace. It was the first time we saw all the guards armed with pistols mounted on horses. Much to our surprise, when we were less than 200 meters away from our regular destination, where we would cut reeds for Germany, we were unexpectedly directed towards a different location. There, a lake of about 4 or 5 hectares was forming, and in the heart of this lake there grew a beautiful dense cluster of reeds. Upon reaching the destination, we were ordered to enter the lake and bring back 2 bundles of reeds each. I remember asking, "Sir, how can we possibly enter the water directly? We are not able to cut reeds in such a manner." We usually walked on ice and cut the reeds. That was how we had been working until that point. The warning came. "If any of you hesitate or refuse to enter the water, we will shoot you on the spot." But Father Ilie spoke with great conviction and encouraged us all, saying, "My friends, we must go in, because they have evil intentions. They will open fire on us. Let us enter the water, for the Mother of God and the Holy Three Hierarchs will protect us unharmed." And so we entered, thereby averting the imminent danger. First, we stepped in up to our ankles, then up to our knees, and finally up to our waists until we reached the designated cutting spot. The bitter cold penetrated our bodies, and our thoughts drifted to the 40 martyrs of Sebasta who faced a similar ordeal. We reassured ourselves, believing we will be victorious. Each of us made our bundle and headed back. However, their demands were relentless. They insisted on yet another bundle. They resorted to pulling their triggers, attempting to intimidate us. We complied, making another bundle and then another. It was around 12:30 when we finished the 3rd bundle. It is important to mention this because when we returned with the 3rd bundle, the sun came out, casting its light and warming the area to over 25 degrees Celsius. It was a miracle that filled us with great joy. We acknowledge Father Lacatusu to be an extraordinary man. I can confidently say that there were no illnesses, hospitalization, or any similar issue. This was all solely attributed to the prayers of Father Ilie. Without them, I believe we would have all perished. The guards were miserable and left us at that location. The heat grew more intense with each passing moment. We squeezed the water out of our clothes, washed ourselves, and dried off while making our way back to the camp. We departed from there with the overwhelming feeling that God, seeing our inability to bear more, had performed a miracle. Do you think those wretched individuals said anything? When they saw that after 2 or 3 days not a single one of us fell ill, they surely thought in astonishment, "These bandits are truly wicked, even God is on their side." Father Ilie Lacatusu exemplified Christian perfection, displaying dignity and kindness. He served as a spiritual pillar, offering support and guidance to those who encountered him. He never succumbed when interrogated, fearlessly standing his ground, remaining resolute, and not betraying anyone. He embodied great dignity, possessing a commanding presence, and did not compromise on anything. He was like an apostle, offering guidance to many people on their journey towards Christ. Notably, he served as a selfless model, renowned for his willingness to share any good he possessed. Whenever he received a package from home, he selflessly gave away the clothing or any other items to the inmate who was sicker or in greater need. He willingly wore his own tattered garments. When an inmate became very sick and nearly coughed up his lungs, he eventually died after 2 months. Father Ilie gave him his own share of food. Who knows how many others he fed in this way? This tremendous display of selflessness towards others served to sanctify him. Furthermore, he was a very good and gentle-hearted man. His being recognized as a martyr demonstrates that not only those who are martyred within the prison walls are saints in the eyes of God, but also those who, upon their release, continued to exemplify the teachings of the gospel in their lives. He emerged from prison sanctified and guided those around him towards the path of salvation.